Well, good morning, you fantastic and glorious degenerates of this floating rock that we call Earth. Welcome to the Cajun Libertarian Live. I am your host, the Cajun Libertarian. I'm very proud to have with us this morning Kyle, the owner and founder of Gap Armory. Let's talk guns. Coming up in just a minute on the Cajun Libertarian Live. Good pre-Easter Saturday morning to all of y'all. Welcome to the Cajun Libertarian Live. Are you in the state of Pennsylvania? Are you looking for many options? Well, go check out Joe Solosky. Joe Solosky for Pennsylvania governor. The key to Pennsylvania's success, joesolosky.com. The key to Joe's success is Nicole Schultz, who's still running with him. So go check him out, joesolosky.com. The key to Pennsylvania's success. Do it now. And thank you, Joe, for sponsoring the show. So let's bring on Kyle with Gap Armory, and let's talk about guns right now. Kyle, what's up, dude?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Oh, just enjoying a Saturday morning. Little yucky outside, but that's all right. How about you?
Yeah, it gets that way. It's getting cold where I'm at right now.
No fun. No thanks. I'm in shorts and a t-shirt, flip-flops. That's the way I like it. It's warm. It's muggy. It's warm. It's the time of the year where we get out of the shower and sweat for the next 15 minutes. But I'll take it all day, all year round over the freaking cold. Hard pass. You're a trucker, right? Where are you at right now?
Yeah, that is the day gig, man. And running building Gap Armory on the side. Right now I'm in Wisconsin. And still heading north. So yeah, they've got some weather coming in. We won't be enjoying what you guys are, that's for sure.
But you got a cold front coming through?
It looks like maybe Sunday. Got some mess coming through.
Will you be on the road or will you be still parked in Wisconsin?
A little bit of both, right? Got to reset that federal clock, right? Wouldn't want to violate my permission slip. So, get back to work on Monday morning.
Yeah, excellent. Got to make sure you have the government's permission to make your money. That's always fantastic.
Yeah.
So let me throw up the graphic here and give the spiel real quick, and then you can tell us what's going on. So Gap Armory. This is GapArmory.com. The founder and owner of it, Kyle. We carry the parts you need to finish your 3D printed firearms. We carry parts and accessories for a wide variety of popular firearms. We carry our own slide rails for 3D printed Glock frames. Libertarian owned and operated, longtime Mies and Cap kind of guy. We love and accept crypto. Gap Armory has the gear you need to bridge the gap in your defensive preparedness. That's Gap Armory, GapArmory.com. I'm going to put that up there as well. And so tell us a little bit about where it got started. What made you decide to get into this and invest?
Well, at first, I grew up in East Tennessee. There's kind of like an anarchist hillbilly, free folk, leave me alone kind of vibe where we grow up, and we know guns, just like from teenage years. I can remember going to government school, right? And juniors in high school at 16 years old, we had gun racks in our pickup trucks. It's just that kind of place and culture to grow up in. Learning more and more and more as I got into my 30s, had more kids, and had a good wife, really, with her head on her shoulders to take care of the house while I go work, in all over the lower 48. Really, really set us up to be able to operate and do what we're doing right now. Unschooling, like micro homesteading, we're super excited because the wife just got chickens, and I got to pull my hair out building some stuff. It was fun. But yeah, just that whole journey to like individual autonomy, get nice little networks of free folks set up so we can like barter and help each other. It's great. I love it. And
that's awesome.
I talked the wife into letting me buy a 3D printer. I was like, yeah, the kids are homeschooled. It'll come in so handy. You're going to love it. Like we're doing rainwater. So yeah, we got to 3D print the water spout diverters. It'd just be so much easier because it's expensive to buy them online. Trust me. And she was like, yeah, whatever, buy it. So the first thing I run off on, it's like 3 Glock frames. And I fall in love with it. And I'm like, the market for this, it doesn't look wide open at all. It's very niche, right? If you're going to make money, it's a very niche market. So I never went into it thinking I'm going to pay off the house and make hundreds of thousands of dollars every year by, getting into 3D printing and selling parts and stuff. But I did fall in love with the message from groups like Deterrence Dispensed, Are We Cool Yet, Defense Distributed, all these guys, all these CAD nerds in this internet, come and take it gun culture that obviously I wasn't exposed to, growing up in a super duper red state. I fell in love with the message, you can't stop the signal. And man, I've never, ever heard truer words.
That's awesome. I have never built one, so don't hate me. I can't afford a 3D printer. I want to very badly. And so now, look, it may become a little bit more difficult. So before we get into what just went down this week, I know there's obviously anytime the federal government starts coining phrases, it's always a red flag for me. So what is the actual terminology? What's the actual name behind ghost gun?
Ghost gun is something that the representatives of a monopoly on violence uses in their marketing to make guns in general sound scary. And when I mean guns in general, of course, it lends more credence to the idea that, we're supposed to have control over this because the ones that don't have numbers on them are way more super duper scary. We can't just have these psycho individualists essentially making their own murder sticks in their garage. Right. And I mean, it's low hanging fruit to say that it's a gross misrepresentation. Right. But I mean, politics, branding, marketing, you hear the lingo. I know you work in a very customer experience oriented business for your day gig. I've been in sales, have a long history of it. And we pick up on these things, man. You can read the legalese and, see between the lines, especially when I'm sure your journey is similar to mine, being able to have access to mountains of books, free college lectures, podcasts, all this information that we have out there because we live in the age of information. There's a pattern, man. And if you've read G. Edward Griffin, or if you've read Dr. Robert Higgs, or the literal mountain of work by Murray Rothbard, I mean, you see the patterns. They make it so easy to see today. I mean, their propaganda is lazy, and literally
it keeps working. That's the problem. It keeps working.
It's where it used to work on 990 million people now.
Yeah.
Like we're not there, but we're going in the right direction.
We are moving in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, and that's why I love the message. Can't stop the signal, because we're only amplifying it. And side note, 3D printers are like $230, dude.
I didn't know that. I thought they were
super easy to get into.
Than that.
Yeah, and it's the learning curve's like a day and a half investment on a free YouTube channel that I'll definitely shoot to you when you get ready to set it up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So yeah, I mean, and there's also this misconception with a lot of people that building your own firearms is some sort of new discovery. Like we just started doing this, and now we're going to call them we got 3D printers, and we're going to call them ghost guns because it can't be tracked. It's all manufactured fear porn, and we know that's marketing. Sure, yeah. But we've been building guns since we moved here. You know, building your own firearms in your garages, and before you had garages, you know, this is not some new development. We've just got better technology that makes it easier.
It's since before that, right?
Exactly.
It's before that, right? I mean, it's before America. It's before the colonies. If you notice, you ever watch Pawn Stars or any TV show that's like, oh, these antique firearms are super cool. We have to confirm where they came from. That's why they have stamps from the crown and the house of manufacture and the grade of the steel that was made to use them. Without those stamps, you would automatically assume that it was just some wealthy landowner, a lord, or whatever, that had his blacksmith make it. That because it was made privately on his property. Right. It's been around forever.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's
ridiculous. That's a good point, because I said since we moved here, but you're right. It's been ongoing for centuries, really. And look, it doesn't matter really what the weapon that we use made. No, we've been building our own weapons in our own homes for centuries and centuries and centuries. Or you go right down the road and barter with the blacksmith and say, hey, I need a broadsword. I'll give you, a month's worth of beans, or however they would do it.
Sure.
This isn't new. This is just yet another attack, obviously, on legal and safe gun owners. And again, none of this is going to stop a criminal from getting their hands on a firearm and using it in a bad situation. Literally, we go over this. Every single gun law is just what's the word I'm looking for? It's just a roadblock for law-abiding, safe gun owners. Yeah. And so now go ahead.
Have you read Bob Higgs? Have you read Dr. Robert Higgs?
I have not.
In Crisis and Leviathan, Dr. Higgs lays out what he calls the ratchet effect. And it's in war, it's in monetary manipulation, it's in regulation barriers to entry, it's in everything. When the state has a big push to move an agenda forward, when you move forward so far, and we've seen this with COVID lockdowns too, when you move forward so far, it might come back a little, but that ratchet will catch. You're never going to get those rights back. You're never going to get that autonomy and freedom back.
Exactly.
And they'll move forward on COVID, and you'll only go back a little. They're going to move forward on World War III, and you're only going to go back a little bit, right? And that's exactly how Michael Malice lays it out best when he says conservatism is progressivism driving the speed limit. Right. They keep pushing real hard, and the conservatives conserve absolutely nothing. They just slow them down. So we're still heading in that direction of, socialist tyranny and all that stuff.
Oh, facts. I mean, this is look, you should see the look, and I'm sure you've been through this as well. When I talk to Republicans, their jaw drops when I tell them I'm not a huge fan of Ronald Reagan. I'm like, what? This is heresy. What are you talking about? I'm like, what are you talking about? Dude,
the Hollywood God Emperor.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Yeah.
How can you be so okay and idolize somebody that was banning some of the most vital weapons for home defense and defense against tyrannical governments? It blows me away.
Reagan did to guns what Woodrow Wilson did to money. We don't like any of them.
That's very analogous. I like that a lot. I'm probably going to steal that one. And so because I don't know a bunch about 3D printing. I'm not sure about the I know that in the legislation, basically all they want is that if you're FFL holder or somebody like yourself that is a 3D printing manufacturer, they want you now to register your parts before you can sell them to your customer. Is that correct?
I didn't know. I didn't hear that. What I heard was they want to have a reclassification or redefinition of which part would be considered a firearm due to functions. It's all confusing language, meant to confuse, by the way.
Yeah.
And this is the ATF pretending to be a legislative body. They're not.
Nope.
This is and they've done this before. They did it with bump stocks, and they've done it with pistol braces. And the reason they keep going back and forth is because they actually don't have any authority. I don't really subscribe to or believe in the state authority, especially on that federal level, to restrict my ownership of private property in any way. But if you're going to play within that system, that American political system, which you kind of have to not to get raided, right? By their own rules, they shouldn't be doing that. But like I said, with the ratchet, they're going to see what they can get away with. And what Malice calls the new right, and what I call Young Americans for Liberty, they're really pushing back on the political end, man. I think that's one side to a 3 or 4 pronged attack that we all need to be making together. And the side that I've chosen is entrepreneurship and just marketing. Just get the word out there. Tell people you can't stop the signal. Look what I'm doing. And always add neener, neener, boo boo on the end of it, right?
That's great. Yeah, it's pretty funny because I'm glad you said, I hadn't heard Michael Malice say that yet when you say the new right. And this is something that I've been talking to a lot of libertarians about, and a lot of my Republican family. I'm telling them that it's a good thing that you see that the 2 maybe Republicans and a few pontificators start to actually grow teeth, because what we're starting to see is if they start to bite back, then you're introducing more competition into the marketplace of ideas. And competition is never, even if they do it completely wrong, and even if they're wrong about what they're saying, just the fact that they're growing teeth is a net positive for the country, because now we can introduce again more competition into the marketplace of ideas, which is always going to breed people waking up, people finding out what the truth is really, and hopefully more people gravitating towards voting with their conscience as opposed to voting party line. You know, that's something I'm really big on, even though I'm a libertarian. Is if you've got a crappy libertarian candidate, but you've got a strong liberty-minded Democrat, Green Party, Republican, something like that, vote for who you think is going to be best for the job. That's my personal opinion. I'm not saying we, as a party, we should be running out anybody else but us. No, we should not. We should only be running libertarians as a party. What I'm saying is the average voter continues to, quote unquote, be red pilled like from the Matrix, then we're going to see a lot more libertarians voted for office. That's just a fact. Yeah.
And wholly, it's a good thing, right? We're looking at the same problem. You and I'll speak for you and I, looking at the same problem from slightly different perspectives, right? I'm an anarcho-capitalist. I love cryptocurrency and selling eggs at the flea market without paying taxes on it. That's the shit that I'm into. So whenever it's for my nerds out there, this is like taking the help action and getting sneak attack damage if you play Dungeons and Dragons. You guys get some legislation worked up, and while they're over here looking at you, I'm over here actually making things profitable, actually getting it into the market and into the culture, and making it super hard to take away. Like Uber was super hard to take away. Like anything like this is going to be super hard to take away. And at the same time, when entrepreneurs, CAD nerds, and us market types make something happen like ghost guns, and it becomes a hot topic, we're sitting over here just goofing. Can't stop the signal. Come catch me, neener, neener. Guess what? It's your turn, man. You political types, it's your turn to step up and do your job within the system that you've chosen to operate in. So we run parallel, man.
Yeah, we do run
Yeah.
parallel. That's a fact. And
Yeah.
again, we're super grateful to have the structure and apparatus that we do have, even though most of it's been destroyed. We still do have federalism. So no matter what the federal government does, the red states, because we don't have any gold ones yet, some of the red states will push back and just, they're just not going to go for it. So, if I'm in a deep red state, I'm in Mississippi, so that's not something that's ever. I'll be able to get ghost guns, look on 3D printed guns, all day, every day. They're not going to stop. I'm pretty sure DeSantis is not going to allow that to happen in his state. I don't know about Abbott. That guy's kind of a joke to me. I can't stand him.
He's fake. He goes back and forth.
So
Whatever's popular.
It's just he's so wishy-washy. But I do like some of the things that DeSantis is doing. Even if some of it doesn't happen, right? It's a good thing that these people are growing teeth and biting back and causing a little bit of chaos. Kind of like with the Elon Musk thing. Even if Musk doesn't own Twitter, what he's done over the last 3 or 4 days is nothing but a net positive, because all he's done was exposed these progressive Marxists for what they really are. They're like losing their minds over somebody coming in and saying, hey, as long as you're not being violent, you can say what you want.
Did you see?
I've seen tweets that said it's going to be World War III and the end of humanity if Elon Musk takes over Twitter.
Did you see the Saudi prince that holds a big share in Twitter? Did you see him and Elon tweeting back and forth?
I didn't. I haven't caught the Twitter thread, but I heard about it from somebody else that they were going back and forth.
He was complaining about Musk, and immediately Musk just hit him back with, "Okay, what is the kingdom's official stance on freedom of speech for their citizens, and what is your interest in this free speech platform?" It was great. Yeah.
I mean, that I'm gonna have to go check that, because that is a fact. I mean, I don't know why he would even want to engage Musk. Musk is phenomenal at what he does.
None of them want it. They don't want it.
They don't want that smoke.
They want to get on Twitter and use Twitter for what they want Twitter for, right? They can't. Yeah. And this is the way of all statist political critters, right? No, I want to get on my grandstand where I'm comfortable, where I already have a following of people who won't question me, and preach the political message, put the bad marketing back out there. That's what they want. That's what they want Twitter for. That's what they want this platform around gun legislation for. It's all about control.
Yep, it's all about control, and it's pretty easy to see. Look, if you're mad about the rules about to be changed, especially when we're talking about Twitter, then it's pretty obvious that we understand that the game was rigged in your favor. We already knew that, right? Sure. We knew that the game was rigged in the progressive authoritarians' favor, but they tried to say, "Oh, no." Well, now you're upset that the rules might get changed because you knew that the rules were tipped in your favor. That's all that is. So exposing themselves for just being the authoritarians that they are, and want to shut people down. This is nothing new with what you have going. Now, I'm really hoping that this doesn't hinder your ability to turn a profit. I don't think so. I'm not sure where you're at. I know you travel all over the lower 48. You said you're from Tennessee. I'm hoping that you're still in a pro Second Amendment state, or even a Second Amendment sanctuary state, which the federal government's trying to chop that away. Absolutely amazing. They don't care about the Constitution at all. And they're not even trying to hide it, right? Even Jen Psaki had said it months ago. He said something about the federal government trumps the state government, and we're like, have you ever even heard of any of the amendments? Any of them? And so they're going to try to do this too with the ATF, but I think some of these pro 2A states are going to bite back.
Well, we hope so, right? And that's the approach behind having a multi-pronged attack. If you wanted to get into semantics and minutia, I could tear the Constitution apart, but I don't want to do that in front of your audience. they still vote, and we still need them on that parallel mission, Yeah. So man, the sanctuary states, I have some faith in that as far as I can understand it, right? We understand the incentives of Republican gun owners, people who think they're conservative, and those, once again, that Malice calls the new right. But I'm not sleeping in their camp. I'm not putting all my eggs in that basket. I'm not getting behind them. Good job. You're doing a good thing that's going the right direction.
Right.
I'm doing a separate thing beside you that's
Yeah.
I think it's going to be better, but let's both stay on the mission, right? So these people that are talking to their sheriffs and convincing their sheriffs to come out and say this county is a Second Amendment sanctuary. That's fantastic. I love that. That'll give us a little bit of leeway where the federal agents are going to have a super hard time coming in and messing with us. It gives us more room to work. And the more we work and innovate, it gives you political critters more room to make advancements on your end. And we need to be making these separate little individual wins side by side, while the other side is literally pushing us to a world currency and is going to absolutely decimate whatever economy that we have right now.
Yeah, whatever's left, it's about to get destroyed even further for sure. Yeah. So, one thing that I heard Michael Malice say several weeks ago on the Glenn Beck show was that he thinks that the technology, and I'm going to tie this into 3D printing. He thinks that the technology of crypto is moving faster than the government's ability to monitor it and try to really put their hands around it and clamp down on it. I'm hoping that we're seeing the same thing through 3D printing, and that you'll be able to get your product out faster than they can pass legislation against it. And I already read something earlier. It's a meme, so I can't verify it. Maybe you can. But that all ghost guns, 3D printed guns that exist today will be grandfathered in. So they're not going to worry about all of these firearms that are out there already. But I just don't think. Right. The federal government's really good at a few things. And I had Larry Sharp on the show last week, and he laid that out perfectly, right? They're really good at killing people. That they're fantastic at that. They're really good at imprisoning people. They're really good about that. They're really good at stealing things, and they're really good at cutting checks. Outside of those four things, they're not very good. I don't see how in the world, when we have such innovative people like yourself, they're not going to be able to monitor this. They're never going to be able to put their hands around it, just like they never won the drug war. They couldn't win the war in Afghanistan. They're not going to win this war either. You'll be able to get your product out faster than they'll be able to organize any sort of federal bureaucracy or agency and mobilize them to an effect and degree that it's actually even going to make a dent in any of this. Do you think that's at least close to somewhat correct?
That is close. That is absolutely close. And it varies from time to time, right? The crypto community had a big surge in innovation. And my personal opinion, the nerds that know more about this are going to slaughter me. But my personal opinion is that the greatest time of their innovation is kind of over. They got super into infighting, and my shitcoin's better than yours. And they lost the signal, right? Because they can't cooperate and just move forward. Bitcoin's doing good things. I like the Bitcoin Cash people because they just shut up and started using it as money. That's another good thing. Vitalik Buterin's an insane person. I have no idea what they're doing now. But as far as the gun community goes and the technology, it started with the Liberator. Cody Wilson printed the Liberator. It's all plastic, every bit of it, and it fired a little 22, and that was cool. It was a proof of concept. It showed it could be done. And everyone latched onto that and said, super dangerous. It'll blow your hand off. So well, this is proof of concept. Give us a couple years.
Yep.
And now, people are, especially what I'm interested in, right? And most of my customers, to be fair, is printing just the frame or whatever part has to be serialized and going to the OEM and or aftermarket parts market and building it from real, verified, trustworthy manufacturers. Like right now, I told you when I first got my 3D printer, I did some Glock frames first. Groovy. The first one didn't work. It was garbage. Had a little bit of a learning curve to get through. And
of course,
a couple more. That's cool. Now, what do I do from there? Regular lower parts kit, slide rails that are made by I have slide rails. Also, a couple of other really good companies out there that I have done business with, right? We love each other. There is a strong sense of community in here that I hope doesn't go the way of cryptocurrency.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you do the print yourself. You get the rails, which $37 usually. I actually a few days ago put mine on sale for $26.95. Go check it out. And you've got your regular parts from a stock Glock 17, Glock 19, whatever you want to do. They've got AR-15, parts that you can put together. My favorite that I haven't got to print yet is called a Mac Daddy. They took that awful
Nice.
Mac 10 with the T handle, right? It's got absolutely no ergonomics, absolutely no support, no control, no nothing. It was terrible. Some CAD nerds at Deterrence Dispensed just said, what if we used AR, fire control group, grip, Glock magwell, and all this other stuff, and just made it better, more ergonomic, and a more stable and solid shooting platform. So they made a little I don't want to call it an SBR. It's not an SBR, just a braced pistol kind of design out of it. And man, it rocks. It's awesome. It folds up and fits in any backpack. And it's technically a braked pistol. And if you're worried about the ATF, it's still legal-ish.
I used to throw that ish in there. I use that ish on almost everything.
Yeah, make your own decision because you're an adult, but that's basically it. You print the frame. That's the part that serialized that you can or cannot get in trouble for, or whatever. But all the other parts are regular OEM aftermarket, good verified parts that you just buy online, have them shipped to your door.
Yeah. And so then from then on, let me ask you this, because I've never been through the experience. I've seen a lot of TikTok videos on it, which is fascinating. So basically, I'm going to go to your online store. I'm going to buy parts. Let's just go with the most basic thing. I want to build a Glock 9. I'm going to get on GapArmory.com. I get my Glock 9 parts, my 3D print. Can we get 3D printers from y'all as well?
Not yet. That's something that's going to take an investment and something that I'm not there yet. But I will, if you'll allow me to make a recommendation. One of the homies has a website, 3D printer go burr with 3rs.com. He sells lots of good verified in use in the market, in the culture. These machines are run of the mill, what you want to have, and it's shipped to your door.
Okay, so I just put that in the comment section. 3D printer go burr with 3rs.com. I can get a 3D printer from them. Nice shout out. I get me a 3D printer from them. Then I get on GapArmory.com. I get all my Glock 9 parts, and it all arrives at my doorstep. And from there on, take us through the process. I plug it in, and then what?
Plug it in, get your settings right. You'll have to calibrate the feed, the temperatures. You're going to have to get everything right. Leveling the bed is probably the most important thing to do first. And from there, once you get all four corners or whatever you're testing to stick, then you're just going to go through calibration. And like I said earlier, if you've got the right person on YouTube walking you through it, it'll take a couple hours, and then you test print. That'll take a couple hours, and then you go back and double check and all that. And it's super easy. Yeah, it's not hard to get set up at all. And the files are super easy to get a hold of. Whatever you want to print, go to thingiverse.com. You print, downspout diverters or whatever. Go to the catalog. They use the Library Odyssey system to put all these things on the blockchain, so they will never, ever go away. Gun files are there forever, sweetheart. Right. Nothing you can do about it. Nope. And I actually... The packaging on my slide rails for the Glock 17 and 19, it is the Defense Distributed Design, the DD 17.2 and 19.2. So it's readily available. I actually put on the packaging a QR code that takes you directly to that page to download it off the blockchain.
That's incredible. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Thecatalog.com. Right there. Thank you, Morgan. That's awesome. So about how long does it take to print a gun? Just a basic Glock 9.
That depends on the quality you want. Because you can just lay some thick boy ugly layer lines and do it in about half the time. If you're focused on making it very clean, sharp lines, and something that looks good, it's probably going to take you almost 2 days to print it, right?
Oh, not bad at all.
The Glock frames that I print took me, at first, they were taking me about a day and a half, and now they take me about 21 hours. Wow. So it just depends on what you want. You can, and that's the cool thing about printing, right? You can tailor it. Like, I need something chunky and fast. You can have that. Or I need something that looks really good, clean, good, crisp corners, lines, all that stuff. You can have that too. It's no problem. You get to decide if you want it cheaper or better because you're making it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's that for agency?
Right? Excuse me. Yeah, it's such a cool concept that I'm just now really getting introduced to. I mean, I've heard about it over the last couple of years or so. And the first time I saw the machine, I was like, oh, no, it's hella expensive. I can't afford that. I got to pay rent. And since seeing a lot of the TikTok videos, and of course they do the time lapse, right, where they get it going and then it speeds it up and then it'll slow it down through parts of it and speed it up.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it looks so freaking cool. I can't wait to build my first one. Even though I've seen people, like my grandfather back in the day and a couple family members used to take old gun parts and build guns, but not like this. You're not actually watching this machinery unfold before your eyes with this. And I never understood the concept. I was like, there's no way you can build guns from a 3D printer. There's no such thing as a 3D printer. And this is when it first started becoming very popular. And that's what I started looking into. I was like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
It is the means of production, comrade. And the open market in it, has made it super accessible and way cheaper than when the technology first comes out. That's what a good open market does. And now we have access to it for, I think the new machines are like $250 or less, man, somewhere around $230. I picked mine up for $199. Yeah, no, it's awesome. And it's I don't know where I was going with that, man.
It's all good. Morgan makes
You're right, Morgan.
The market breeds innovation. Absolutely correct. Yes. And that's why we have a lack of innovation in today's United States of America, is because we've got so much regulation and bureaucracy being rained down on so many different parts of the free market, especially when it comes to firearms. That's why it's unbelievably expensive just to get ammunition. It's directly due to the federal government's interference, and hasn't stopped it. New York's got the strictest gun laws on the planet, or not maybe on the planet, but in the country, alongside with the other liberal areas. And dude just shot 20-something people in the subway. And none of it works. None of it works. All it does is make it more difficult for people that would actually be responsible and safe and may have look. You don't need the legislation. We need the removal of the legislation. Let's say 10 people were carrying on that subway station. I bet not one person gets shot or a person gets shot, because you got one guy with a gun walks into a subway with 100 people in it. 90 of them have guns. He pulls his out. 90 get pointed right back at him. Nobody gets hurt except for the criminal. It doesn't make any sense.
No. If they would have tried that on MARTA in Atlanta, there'd been one casualty, bro.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's so hilarious because I put pro Second Amendment stuff on my TikTok all the time, and it just the freaking progressives just jump in there and get all ridiculous with absolutely no facts. And they're like, but this and that and that and this. And like every single instance you're talking about are in the areas with the most restricted access to firearms and ammunition.
Sure, yeah.
And it's not even close. This isn't even a conversation. Every quote unquote mass shooting, because I'm not even certain that the federal government wasn't involved in New York the other day. It sure smells like it. I'm just saying. I don't get
how
fact
many
checked on this one here, but
how many thousands of security cameras does the New York subway system have?
and none of them worked on that day.
Nah,
Huh. Strange.
I've seen the OnlyFeds shtick. This kind of looks like
Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing too, is that a lot of people are talking about using this for gun legislation. But again, New York has some of the strictest gun laws
Sure.
in America. I'm watching actually what the rhetoric is not turning into, well, we need more gun legislation, because that talk's already out there when in regards to 3D printing. What I'm watching them do is pick all of this guy's internet content up, and they're going to use it from just to strangle us on the internet even more. You couple that subway incident with the lack of the cameras. I mean, there's so much fishiness all around it. And then you've got Elon talking about Twitter, and they're all blowing up. I think this is just going to lead to more censorship. Obviously, it's going to lead to more gun legislation, but how much more gun legislation can you have in New York? And then none of that stuff's going to come down here, right? Not going to come into places that are really pro 2A.
Well, they want to use it. They want to use New York and Chicago as an example for what they want to do to everyone federally. And I truly believe that if you have free speech, if you have an honest conversation, then you can bring up the fact that everybody's moving en masse out of these places and into I don't want to say red states, because that's not wholly accurate, but into in any area that's going to allow them to have more autonomy. Now, a lot of them are just moving because of economic reasons, and that's fine. Just your new neighbors are going to feed you your teeth if you try to vote the way they don't like. I know Tennessee in here, man. All my neighbors are like, these tourists are moving it, because we live in the Smokies, and everybody that isn't from your hometown is a tourist apparently. They're moving in, and we're afraid of how they're going to vote. Well, that's what you got to deal with. All you people want this system, and I said you people, statist. You want this system. You're getting what you asked for. Now, I can teach you how to build a chicken coop and go off in the county and mind your business if you'd like. If not, vote harder. Maybe it'll help.
Yeah, vote harder. And I keep telling my dad all the time, he's not a Republican. He's just a staunch constitutional conservative.
Right.
But I'm like, dude,
like a Tea Party type. Yeah, I did that.
I was like, man, you gotta realize, probably just an arbitrary number out there, 60% of the things that we deal with, you ain't voting your way out of this, man. That's not how this works. There's over 1 million bureaucrats in the federal government. You can't vote them out. There has to be a different way. That way is chicken coops, farming. I built my own chicken coop several years ago. I built it out of PVC pipe and chicken wire, 10 feet tall and 6 feet wide, and I could push it around the yard. I used with the little crates that you use you remember in high school or in public education systems, those little milk crates.
Oh yeah.
Yep, I'd use them. I zip tied them to the side of it, cut some tops out of them so they could sit in there and lay eggs. They'd eat up all the grass in one area. I could push that 10 foot by 6 chicken coop, 6 more feet. Let that grass grow. They fertilize that grass. I would use their chicken poop. Word of the wise, y'all. If you're using chicken manure, be careful. It is smoking hot with nitrogen. I burnt up a lot of plants that way.
Yeah, it is.
I burnt a lot of plants with it. I was sticking raw chicken manure right into the plant and adding other fertilizer. Terrible idea.
So compost and keep an eye on it, bro. It's the best thing to do.
Absolutely. Be very careful. But I'm with you.
But see, these are the kind of things that are effective on a small individual level when you're focusing on your immediate sphere of influence that you can actually control, like your neighborhood support network, or what we just called neighbors back in the day. These are things that people should be focused on, that free people really are focused on. They're not worried about the federal election and is it mean tweets or is it socialism? Dude, that's an issue that's not really going to affect you until the ATF has a reason to come knocking at your door.
Right.
And hopefully you live in a 2A sanctuary where your sheriff's your buddy. And I don't advocate being friends with cops, but shit, that might come in handy.
It just might. Let's be real honest. That might be something that's going to come in handy here soon. But when you look at it, and this is this is, again, when I'm arguing with conservatives, which is constantly because I'm surrounded by them in South Mississippi.
Sure. That's where we live.
It's like trying to tell them, you understand who is going to come for your guns if they decide to do that, right? Oh, cops would never do that. I say, okay, well, did you think cops in New York would be arresting 9-year-old children for not having a vaccine passport? Bet you didn't think that was going to happen. So if you think for a second that they're not going to, I highly suggest you might go have a conversation with them and convince them on the behalf of the rest of us. Yeah, please don't do that. Now, I've seen a lot of them on TikTok and on Twitter and stuff like that saying, they would hang their suits up immediately if that's what they were told that they had to do.
Yeah, those are words.
We'll see. Exactly. When push comes to shove, when it's your job on the line, and I've seen live videos from Australia, people begging those police, "What are you doing, man? This is our only way of living." He's like,
Canada too.
I hate this. Yeah. Canada too. I hate this, but I've got to follow orders because if I don't, then I'll be in the same situation. And my family will be in the same situation. When you're pinned down like that, let me see how much integrity you have. And that's probably a conversation I had with Cajun Conservative on his show the other day. I said, look, man, these people are extortionists at the heart. They swear an oath to the Constitution, and immediately when the first speeding ticket they give, the first tinted window ticket they give, they violated the Constitution.
The first weed arrest. Yep, every bit of it, yeah. Yep.
And so they'll enforce those laws. What makes you think they're not going to enforce the other ones? So we'll see. I don't know.
No.
I have very little faith.
Yeah, and I mean, the conservatives are kind of correct when they say it's an erosion, right? Well, I mean, libertarians are also kind of correct when they say, be it one thing or another, it has either given us the government that we have or has failed to prevent it. In either case, it is unfit to exist. They talk about the Constitution that way.
Yep.
Yeah, they're both true. The Constitution and the forming of a federal government was a nice little project, a little experiment to work within the confines of a system. This system is outside of the reality and the truth of individual liberty. It's just, hey guys, we're going to try this thing out. It has rules and stuff, and it should be, it'll make life easier. It'll be shortcuts to, getting along or whatever. The bad part is when they claim to have the entire whole consent of what they call the governed. Well, I didn't sign shit.
Nope.
Didn't at all.
Nope.
So much like every good contract, what's the exit clause? Well, it's extortion. Pay a whole bunch of money and then go to a different playground to get bullied, maybe in a similar way or not. Oh, no, I own this property. Well, you really don't actually. So give it up and leave. Love it or leave it, brother. That kind of shit. Well, how about I just kind of do things as quiet as I can and, don't step on my front. Don't step on my property if you don't want to get wrecked about it.
Right.
I mean, that's where we are today. There's not much we can do.
Yep. No, there's no, and I tell people all the time, America is probably the greatest pitch for anarchy
absolutely
we might have ever seen in the world, because we had the greatest documentation in the history of the world to mitigate the expansion of the government in less than 300 years. It's completely out of control. And if it weren't for federalism and if it weren't for firearms, we would be China. We would be Australia right now. I want to go back to this comment. He said, forgive me for the typos, but I wanted to answer him. LS420 Stoner. How do we stop them and make sure we keep our rights and get back to sound money? I love libertarians and y'all have a lot of good points. However, how do we stop the ratchet and take it away?
You work in a system that is outside of theirs. Look, there's no getting back to what you've been told is sound money, right? Because sound money back in the day was anything backed by gold. And you don't have that option anymore. You don't, unless you deal directly with physical gold. I don't carry Krugerrands in my pocket, right? That's not feasible today. Read The Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin. It's a long book, but it's a fantastic read.
I think the Tuttle Twins, if you know of the Tuttle Twins, they made a
we've got them.
About it.
Absolutely.
we got them
We've
too.
got them.
We got them too. I got them sitting right
Yeah.
there. They've got one with the Creature of Jekyll Island, which if you
Yeah.
don't know, and I just found this out like I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just that when you
You're
said
good.
that I had to say this. I just found out like last week the Federal Reserve, was created in the middle of the night under secrecy on the island, on Jekyll Island. So if that isn't freaking fitting, I don't know what is. But yeah, there's no recovery when it comes to what Kyle said earlier, LS 420 Stoner. You don't get back rights that you've already given to the government. You'll never get those back without.
Well, you can, but they're going to charge you.
They're going to charge you for it,
Yeah.
or both of y'all are going to get charged with blood, which can't happen because they're looking for that right now. And I tell people all the time, and look, I've got it right here, right? I'm all about it. From time to time, the tree of liberty must be watered with the blood of patriots and tyrants. I get it, but if you give them 1 ounce, 1 inch of violence, that's what they're looking for right now. And they will absolutely just reign supreme down. They're going to look and say, I freaking told you, those violent extremists. So don't do that, because we're still sitting in a tight spot where our court system is still working, or to a degree. Our judicial system is still working to a degree. It's still functioning. Can't have violence. I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, well, I wanted to answer his question about that, because he also said this right here. There was a female soldier on TikTok. Yeah, she went viral talking about how if there was martial law in the United States of America, if she points her gun at you and you do not get in your house, then she's going to shoot you, because she was trying to say that Americans think that those guns are only for foreigners. But I'm going to tell you something. When you talk like that, you make yourself an enemy of the state. You can't say things. I'm sure she got in trouble for that. I can't imagine she didn't get in trouble for that. You can't say that.
Yeah. Cool story, loot drop.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't say that. And you're not going to do it either, because half of your people that you've been training with, that you look side by side, they're not going to do that. And guess what? There's a lot of guns going to be pointed back at you if that ever comes down. So maybe not. Maybe sit back.
We've got more firepower in general as citizens. Just east of the Mississippi River than all militaries have. Well, no, I don't want to say all. Then our military has, as far as like rifles, handguns, ammunitions, that sort of stuff. What they would be willing to deploy against the U.S. citizens, we match and surpass that for sure. Balls and gumption, I don't know. I really don't know.
Right.
We got the gear though.
Yeah, we got the gear. I've heard it said that United States citizenry has more than the world's top 10 militaries combined.
Sure.
We have more firearms. I know we own like the U.S. citizens owns like 45% of all firearms on the planet.
Yeah. And contrary to what your president will tell you, we've got cannons too, bro.
Yeah.
We absolutely do.
Yeah, a lot of these people don't understand. A lot of us who train for war, a lot of us have been to war. I'm a veteran. It's not that hard to make sticky bombs. So tanks aren't going to be a thing in the America if it ever came to. Of course, we're speaking hopefully speaking hypothetically, but that stuff just doesn't work, and people forget what war is for. War is for resources. So no, they wouldn't just drop a nuke on us because you murder all of your resources. At worst, it would turn into what Afghanistan is. It would be guerrilla warfare, where all of the people like you and I would rush to the mountains, and they would never win that war. They would never win that war.
Well, like I was saying earlier, they don't want to actually do the work in an honest market. What they want to do is control from a political platform. And keeping that in mind, I really believe the only force they would use is enough to justify setting the precedent of more control, right? Yeah. And then they have to maintain that. Yep. So just like today, I mean, forget what will happen, but today you can't have another Waco or a Ruby Ridge. Like Absolutely. it would be a tragedy. They have done this before. That's another reason we're just so happy that the Waco kid, David Chipman, did not get confirmed as the ATF director.
Right. Right.
I mean, you want to, Biden in his speech a few days ago, it alluded to a shooting, or I think it was an arson that had killed like 5 or 6 adults and a handful of children, right? And talking about how it's a tragedy and how all these people have joined a terrible fellowship of loss. Like, okay,
Right.
well, we are talking about your AFT, aren't we? Because you guys, with the full backing of Bill Clinton, actually murdered a bunch of kids and women in Texas. And then, if that wasn't enough, David Chipman and the rest of his boy band were taking pictures on top of the smoldering,
Proud of it.
fucking corpses, dude.
Yep. Proud of it.
This is your enemy. This is your enemy telling you how you're going to live your life. There's 2 approaches. Go vote LP, or if you're not into that, follow me.
Yeah.
we got the other end.
Well, and again, I will go back to what you said earlier, which is extraordinarily important. We need a multi-pronged approach. And so
Absolutely.
we need to take advantage of our voting system, regardless of whether we think that it's going to work or not, because it might. And even in small communities, we're seeing libertarians getting elected in community type positions all over the place. Right.
Sure.
That should be the first thing that we're looking at. The federal government's lost. Consider the federal government lost and just focus on your community and your town. Utilize your voting system, but also use the multi-pronged approach. Understand that there could be a day, and that day could come at any point, where that system may completely fail and you need to be ready to homestead. And I love what you said earlier too, because we're the exact same way. We are micro homesteaders, but we've been doing it for a long time in small pockets. Like I said, I built chicken pens. I built little farms, basically little gardens. I built bigger gardens. Right now we're doing a garden on our back porch, but it's all potted, right? We stock a bunch. I suggest that everybody go and get at least 30 days. We have about 60 days, but at least 30 days. Really, you should have about 6 months. But, and I did hear this. I hope you know about this. I heard this week, that in the Patriot Act, it says that if you have more than 1 week's supply of food and the president makes it a national emergency, that you are committing a felony if you have stored more than 1 week's worth of food. Can't verify. I need to go verify. That's amazing.
I heard that actually years and years and years ago, before when I knew what prepping was, but didn't know what anarchism was. And I think that's an old scare tactic. What I think it was something that was political marketing that, scared preppers latched onto and told all their buddies at the gun shows that, this was what's going to happen. Right. Because Barack Obama's not an American. Yeah. I think it's similar to that. But yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a great thing. And honestly, I can't take all the credit for it. Right. I work away from home a lot of the time. And I just basically dumped 3 kids off with my wife for her to homeschool. And she's a rock star. I come home and I build cool shit. She tells me what she wants. And I'm like, yeah. Let me build stuff. I get to play with tools and this is awesome. And she, 1,000% just handles it like a champ, man. So that's you a good partner.
My wife is the same way. My wife has had a healthy distrust of the government for a long time. She homeschools our kids. I'm not like you. I'm not all over the lower 48, but I do a lot of traveling. Like yesterday, I think I drove just in the truck alone. I was somewhere around 5-6 hours. And that's my normal day. I travel a lot, where I dump 2 kids off to my wife, 5 and 2. And she does the homeschooling. I'm collecting content, getting to meet people like you, getting to make partnerships with people in organizations like yours, coming on the internet, doing this, getting to talk to thousands of people literally a week. And so it's very similar, right? But we also take to heart our priorities, and our priorities is making sure, first and foremost, we are followers of Jesus. So we want to make sure that we're doing that, putting that as the priority, but then that our children are being raised up as going to be good, educated Christian, libertarian anarchists, to grow up to be self-sufficient if we have that much time. And so we have to walk these things out in real time in front of them, because our children are you wouldn't know me if I didn't have kids. And if it wasn't for the COVID regime, I would have never done it. I wasn't interested in any of this before the COVID regime happened. And remember, I'm like you, I'm in a deep red state. We barely even did the 2 weeks to flatten the curve thing, but I watched what happened across the country, and it's not eroded. In my mind, it's completely collapsed. And we've got to do the multi-pronged approach. We've got to utilize our voting system. We've got to utilize our legislative branches and prep. Please, for the love of God, prep. Get yourself food and supplies. I'll tell you this much too, and keep a week's worth of cash on you. The Russians could hack our financial system like that, and we have no power to stop them. They can talk all that game they want on Capitol Hill, but Putin's already proved that he could do that. If he wanted to, he could cause a banking holiday, and you would have no access to your money at all.
Dude, Saudi could do that too.
Yeah, Saudi could do that too. Yeah, we do not.
We're not as secure as people think we are.
No, not at all. Our internet infrastructure is not safe, and I don't know why that is. I think that we didn't take it seriously for long enough, while other more devious, evil people, we were being devious and evil with troops on the ground. They're being devious and evil with the internet, and we're not. We're just not there, and they could shut us down like that. And you could be without power, you could be without water, you could be without power, you could be without cash. So get yourself some food, get yourself some guns, get a 3D printer, go to gaparmory.com, get all the tools that you need. You can get them at the lowest cost and at the most highest quality at gaparmory.com. Kyle, you are the man, dude. I absolutely love this conversation. You're fantastic at this. You ought to do podcasts more often, man, for sure. Did I lose you?
I'm starting to lose you.
Right at the end, I lost him. Yeah, no, you're good. If you can hear me, go ahead and give it your last pitch. We're going to jump off here and let everybody enjoy their Saturday. Oh, his internet might be breaking up. Yep, because you got all fuzzy on me. Can you hear me at all? Let me kick him out and see. We'll see. I'll see if I can bring him back. But, yeah, thank you, Justin. Absolutely fantastic show. I love this guy. We've been texting, going back and forth, and obviously incredibly sharp, incredibly intelligent, trying to build a way for us to exercise our rights in an affordable manner. So please go to gaparmory.com. I'm going to see if I can bring him on real quick again. Can you hear me now? Weird. So weird. Right at the end there. That's crazy. Huh. All right. Well, peace.
Yeah, I'm losing you, man. It's choppy real bad.
No worries. No worries. Let's get up out of here. Thank you. I know you can't hear me, but appreciate it. Hopefully the hand wave does it. Y'all are awesome. Thank y'all very much. I will see y'all very soon. Monday night's going to be something special. I will not be doing a show Monday night, but I will be on a program. And as soon as I get that information, it's from Brian. He's setting it all up. It's something for Bill Redpath. Spike will be there. A lot of people are going to be there. And so that's going to be very interesting. I imagine there's going to be a lot of people watching that. That's going to be a bunch of fun, but I can't give too much away. As soon as I get a promotion, I'll let you know. Either way, thank you very, very much to everybody who was here. I love you very, very much, and I will see you very soon. And I am out.